Well, hello, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I want to welcome you, each and every one, to our Fall Festival of 2022. Last year, my friend Helene from Cabin Fever Crochet and Tom from the Needle and Hooker, we decided to give collaboration a try. So we came up with a theme, and it worked out great. We enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, and it was new, so we had to kind of feel our way. Well, of course, we thought, well, let's do it again this year. So our Fall Festival for 2022, Helene took the lead, and she came up with a theme of Autumn Glow. Autumn Glow. And I'm thinking, oh my word, how pretty. I can't wait till we all come up with some stitches to share, and we have to keep them secret from each other. We want it to be a surprise. Now, before I get into it, the first thing you're going to say is, well, Jay, I didn't, in our announcement video, you didn't notice or see Tom. Well, don't worry. When we contacted Tom to, get the ball rolling, Tom was booked. That's what I said. He was booked. Tom has started a music career in Nashville. That's his new home. He lives in Nashville now. And I'm telling you, so when we started messaging back and forth, he gave us a wonderful update. It's been hard trying to get, anytime you start something new, to get doors to open. But he has finally gotten some doors to open. He's found people that are interested in collaborating with him, and so he couldn't do our Fall Festival this year, but that he said he would keep us updated, and he's going to send us some information. And hold on a minute. Who's that? Hold on. Oh my word. Oh, look here. Oh, let me read it. Let me just see. See, can I do it? I'm all this new stuff. Okay, I'm supposed to. Oh, it's a message from Tom. Okay. He's sending a video through that he would like to just share some good information with all of you. Hold on and give me just 1 second.
Are we on? Makeup, hair? Oh, we're live. Oh, hi everybody. Look who's out there. It's all my needlers and all my hookers. And look who's here for you, finally, after a year. It's me, Tom, the needling hooker. Of course, you know that because you watch my channel. Well, I apologize that it's been a while since I've seen you, but a lot's gone on in the last year, since I was in the Fall Festival in October of 2021 with Jay of Jay's Knit and Purl Jam and Helene of Cabin Fever Crochet. Hi, Jay. Hi, Helene. Oh, God. At first, I have to say thank you so much to Jay for inviting me, because I'm unable to do the Fall Festival this year, and I'll explain to you why in a second. But I owe a big thank you to Jay and much gratitude and appreciation for her asking me to come on video and to be in her video so that I could say hello to everybody and you could hear a little bit about what's been going on with me in the last year. Where do I start? In the last year, since I last saw you and we did our tutorial with the pine cone stitch, at that time I was still quarantining from COVID. I was still living at my mom's with her and my stepdad, and the three of us had come down with COVID. My mom was in the hospital for 2 weeks and almost died from it, had double pneumonia, was on 15 liters of oxygen. And so it was kind of a very worried situation. All better now. My mom's doing well. In fact, about 6 weeks ago, she had a complete shoulder replacement surgery. So she's started physical therapy for that, and she's making wonderful progress. As for me, in the last year, aside from working, I have not had time to do a YouTube video for my channel, and I'm going to resume doing that here shortly for you, because in December of last year, I wrote a Christmas song. And so the Christmas song I put ahead of everything else, and a friend of mine who's been producing my songs for me produced that, all the instrumentation, did the lead vocal for the demo. Him and his wife did the background vocals. And so that's been sent off to a publisher who turned it down. Okay, so we'll keep trying. And everyone that I've played it for has said it was a hit song. Now I just have to get it in the right hands. So I'm going to be putting the video up during the holidays or maybe before so that you all can enjoy the song. It's called Christmas Time in Tennessee. If anybody knows anybody who has the right hands, feel free to share the song. Anyway, aside from that, I finally started my band, and I've got one musician left to find. Actually, I have two that are auditioning Friday night at our band practice, the bass player and the keyboard player, but I have a pedal steel guitar player, I have a drummer, and I have a lead guitar player. So now, once I get the bass player and the keyboard player, then I'm on search for a good fiddle player. And then the Haystack Gang will be officially started. And my stage name is a nickname I had when I was a kid, given to me by my dad's sister, by my aunt, and she used to call me Tommy Tucker. So the name of my band is going to be Tommy Tucker and the Haystack Gang, but it's going to be all vintage country and western music from the 40s through the early 70s. I hope everybody's doing well. Aside from that, I'm doing well. So the next video I do for you and launch on my YouTube channel, The Needling Hooker, is going to be a complete tour of my new place that I moved into in February. And I will then resume tutorials, and I'll have a special treat for you that's been over a year in the making, or trying to make, and that is to begin interviewing guest knitters or crocheters that also have YouTube channels and podcasts that some of you may already follow. And I have two that are willing to do this with me. Well, it sure has been good seeing you again. I'm glad that you're all here tuning in to Jay's tutorial and for the Fall Festival and Helene. And I'm, again, appreciative that I could come to you via Jay's video and say hello to you. I miss you all very much, and thank you again for subscribing to my channel. I'm glad that I got a chance to catch you up and to see you in spirit, and for you to actually see me via this video. Thank you for being with me over the last couple of years since I started the channel, and let's continue to enjoy crocheting and knitting together, and just good conversation and good camaraderie. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go needle and I gotta go hook. Well, if I can find some time.
So, with that said, like I said, let's go back. My friend Helene got the theme Autumn Glow. She sent me pictures that were just over and above. So here is, let me show you my project for this year's Fall Festival Autumn Glow 2022. I designed from one of my older tutorials. I went back and looked at one of my own tutorials, my own designs, about 5 years ago, and I decided this is a beautiful, it's a beautiful knitted piece of fabric. It's a little too wide to be maybe a simple scarf, and not quite wide enough to be a really pretty shoulder shawl. So I'm calling it a Scarfie. This is Jay's Autumn Glow leaf, because I have a leaf motif Scarfie. And I can't wait to share it with you. It's easy, it's simple, it's just one row of knitting, one pattern row, and I'm going to give you the formulas. I'm going to break it all down just as I always do. I think you're going to love this. It's a stash buster. You don't need much yarn. I believe this will look beautiful in any beautiful autumn color. Can you just see this in other colors? Wait till you see how easy it is too. Just knitting. So I think any level will do just fine for this. So I'm going to take it to the counter, but let me just kind of show you a little bit. I'm just going to take this just to kind of get a little feel of it. Let's see, I got to get my mirror. Oh, what do you think? Right now, here, I'm in the metro Atlanta area, and the weather has just suddenly changed. It's cold at night, or much cooler. We're down to 40, and in the mornings. So this, it's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right. And you will be able to pick a yarn or weight size that will represent your climate or what you're going through right now. All right, my friends, we are over at the counter so that I can give you a full overview of my autumn glow leaf scarfie. You saw me wearing it. It's not quite a shawl, but it's has a little more than a scarf. And it is easy to make. It is fun because all you have to do is just change the stitch. I went back to look. This came from about 5 years ago from one of my tutorials. I had a scarf back then, and I don't even know what I called it, but for this one, we're calling it the Autumn Glow Leaf Scarfie, and I'm going to show you why in just a minute. But it's very easy to make. It will fit short, tall. You just decide on how many repeats you want to put in it. It's a great one skein stash busting wonder. So all you got to do is look in your stash. You need a skein about at least 250, maybe 300 yards, or around there. Probably not even that much, but it's just good to have it because you'll see the fringe at the bottom. And you may, like I say, if you want a lot of repeats, you just want to make sure you have enough. And you can use any quality. It depends on what season you're in. But it needs to be a yarn weight of like a number 3 or like a sports weight, or of course a number 4 weight yarn like I normally use, because I gauge my things to a US number 9 needle. And so that way you get good drape by having that number 9 needle instead of stitching it on a smaller size needle. Alright, so now that's a little technical stuff. Let me show you now a little bit of the stitch before we get into it. We're going to stitch and you're going to love this. Alright, let's see, how should I do this? Should I show the back first? Okay, let me show the back. Let me just flip it over. You can see it's just like I said, it's like a scarf. Here's the back. I probably can't get it just right, but I'll see. Here's the back. Here's the back of the neck right here. And I just simply do a stockinette. I just do the stockinette roll where the yarn just rolls back on itself. So that saves a lot of time. Let's see if that shows up good. Look at that. Is that pretty? Of course, I'm going to show you the stitch up close in just a minute. Well, let me go ahead and do it now. All right, so here we go. Here's the back. And if you look really... well, I say if you squint your eye, you can see 2 rows of beautiful, like fall maple looking leaves. Can you see the leaf motif there? Here's a row 1, and then row 2, right on top. Does that look anything? And the great thing, like I said, about this scarfie, this style scarf, all you need is a beautiful stitch from any stitch books or any charts, anything, but if it has a beautiful edge, because that's what makes the scarf. I just use any stitch, and we're going to use this again. When I find another stitch with a pretty edge, this, like I said, I'm calling it a leaf stitch. It doesn't have a name. But I thought, you know what, that really looks pretty with the little scallop edge, and it's nice and big. You can see the motif when you get up close and personal. All right, my friends, so I am back, and I have worked up my working formula. I work from kind of like a one-line working formula to make it easy for me to just simply sit and just knit. And I'm going to just break this down for you. First of all, on the stitch that we're using, like I said, it doesn't have a name, so I'm just calling it a leaf stitch for this particular scarfie. It's 10 stitches plus 1. Okay, so for every repeat of 10, and at the very end of the count, you'd add a plus 1. So here's the first one I'm going to do. First of all, when I'm doing anything like a scarf or shawl or something that goes up one side of my body, behind, the back of my neck and down the other side, I like to use an odd number if I can, because that will give me that odd number to represent the center back. Does that make sense? So for instance, on this side here, it's not really a size, but the shorter one, number 1, I simply took 10 times 13. I started with 13 repeats. That equals 130 stitches, and then I add that plus 1. So now I have 131 stitches. Now I can go here and draw my line to make my working formula. It's just a line so that I can just kind of see in real time what I'm doing. That's maybe a little crooked. Let's see if I can get it up. Okay, so, but then I want to always add some borders because I'm designing this and I want borders, and of course you can pick anything you want. I'm using 5 every one of these Scarfies. You're going to have 5 stitches. So I have a border of 5, 131 stitches, and a border of 5 on this side. If I add those up, it comes out to 141 stitches to cast on. Easy. Let's go a little more. All right, you got a taller person, or you just want one to go longer on your body. You like the longer, a little more length on your Scarfie. How about 10 times 15? 10 times 15 is 150, plus 1 equals 151. I draw my line, I bring it over here. All right, each border, I add 5. We're going to add 5 on all of these, so make it easy and simple, easy to remember. All right, so if I add 5 and 151 and another 5, that gives me a cast on number of 161 stitches. I believe that's the one that you saw me wearing. I think I have 161 stitches on that. I can count. But all right, then you have the taller person or the younger set that likes to have long scarves and wrap them around their neck, more than once. All right, let's start here at, how about 10 times 17 repeats? That's a lot of repeats, but it's only one row. Okay, to kind of learn. All right, so 10 times 17 is 170, plus that 1 equals 171. Now I go over here and draw a line to represent my cast on. So I will have border of 5, my 171, and the end border of 5. And I add that up, it comes out to a cast on of 181 stitches. Now what could be easier, quicker, easy to understand, easy to change in case you want to go even longer. You want to go up to 19. 10 times 19, you continue to go up. Does that make sense? It's fun, it's easy, and I'm sharing with you how I work things in a simple way so that I can always remember. And I can simply, I just simply want to share it with you. So pick a formula, and let's get our number 9 needles, and then I'll come back with some practice yarn, because I like to practice, and walk you through the chart too. All right, back in just a moment. All right, I am back, and I have my chart. It's a simple chart. I had the patterns, like I said, I've had it a good while, so I just simply, since it was only one row, and I'm trying to work more from charts to save time from having to type everything and do all of that, I just recharted it on just simple graph paper that you can, pick up anywhere. I suggest, though, as you use charts or whatever, just if you have a place you can go and get them enlarged, just to help you, especially us who are more seasoned and older, just to help with eye strain and not create any more problems than we already have. We're just enlarging the chart. We're not doing anything crazy. But this is just plain graph paper that I had enlarged so that anytime I need to enlarge, make my own little chart, I can use the enlarged graph paper. Good idea. Just a tip from Jay. Also on this one, I went ahead, since I'm doing a sample in real time, I went ahead and put down my little formula for the sample, because I know there are going to be people, and I'm happy. We're not trying to take you away from what you already do. If you already do cross stitch, or if you already you crochet, you do other things, there's nothing wrong with learning something new. And if you already have an idea of knitting and you just want to learn a little more, here I put down the working formula for this little sample that I'm going to work in real time, so you can see the stitch. I simply took 10 times 3 is 30, and then the plus 1, 31. Then I added my 5 stitch border on each side. It's a simple cast on of 41 stitches on my number 9. You're going to need a couple of stitch markers so we can mark our little borders. So you can have those and anything else you might think of. I have my stitches cast on. I have 41 stitches on my number 9 circular needles, because that's what I work with. You can try other things, but this is what I'm going to be working from. There they are. Let me see if there's anything else. Any special symbols? You should always, whether you're working from a chart or book or whatever, always check the designer's either. Sometimes it's called a legend, sometimes it's called the abbreviation or symbols or the key. Always check to see what they want their symbols to represent. Most of them are very universal, but sometimes, a designer may have a strange looking symbol. So the only little symbol that I have that I need to maybe just remind you, it's this little symbol here, and we'll get to it in just a minute. It simply means slip 2 stitches, knit 1, then reach back and pass the 2 slip stitches over and off. Everything you recognize. Here's a slip, slip, knit. That leans to the left. That's a decrease. The one I just said, the funny little symbol, that's a double decrease right there in the center, because you're going to slip 2. All right, then on this side of the center stitch, you have a knit 2 together. That's a decrease. So 3 decreases right in a row, and a couple of yarn overs on each side. Easy, easy. I've already highlighted the repeat box. I always highlight it in yellow so that once we go across, to stop, and then we will come back and repeat to however many repeats you have. We will start with row 1 here, and it's the same row, but I went ahead and wrote it out again so that you will have it. We're just going to do row 1, row 2, and all wrong side rows, you just purl back. Purl back, then we'll work row 3, which is exactly the same as row 1. But I wrote it out just so that you could see it. Row 4, you purl back. And then we'll stop, and then we'll go from there. All right, so, let's get to stitching. I think I've covered everything that most of you follow me. I hope you're enjoying charts and getting used to them now. It just makes you can just knit so much faster. All right, so, and on this particular stitch, we start right out on row 1. We don't have to normally, most times I'll have you to have to knit 2 rows. But this one, you start right on row 1. You start out here, so I need to, on my formula, I need to knit 5 stitches for my first border. So I go ahead and knit 5 stitches, just like this. This is just going to go so nice, I hope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I knit my 5 stitches. Now you can place a marker. Let's see which marker looks best, that might show up the best. Let's see, that one or this one. Maybe the white one. Might show up a little better. They're not as big either. Okay, so there's my first marker after the 5 stitch border. Okay, now I'm just going to read and work as I go. Starting with row 1, the first stitch is an empty box. On this chart, empty boxes represent knit on the front, but on the wrong side it represents purl. Standard charts. Okay, so after I slide the marker, I'm going to knit 1 stitch, yarn over, knit the next stitch, yarn over. Then I have a slip, slip, knit. It leans to the left. Then I have that center stitch, and we're going to slip 2 stitches. So you slip 1, 2, then knit the next stitch, reach back and pass that slip stitch. In fact, I pass them one at a time. That's 1, and 2 over and off. Tighten up a little bit. Then move to the next stitch here on this side of the center, and it leans to the right, so that is a knit 2 stitches together. Just like this, knit 2 stitches together. Then there is a yarn over, knit 1, and then a yarn over, stop, because I see that there's the yellow highlight right there to tell me to stop. So I stop, and I go back up to the front of the box for row 1 so that I can complete all the other stitches here. So I start again with knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 again, yarn over, okay? Then slip, slip, knit. Then that center stitch is a double decrease, so I slip 2, 1, 2, I knit the next stitch, reach back and pass each slip stitch over. That's 1. You have to kind of tighten up a little bit sometimes. And there's 2. They get kind of loose this first row. This is just the first row. It will get better. Then after that, I have knit 2 stitches together. So I have 3 decreases right in a row. After the knit 2 stitches together, then here I am here with a yarn over, knit 1, yarn over again, stop. Go back up to the front of the box. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 again, okay, yarn over. Now I do a slip, slip, reach back and knit it. Then I have the symbol right in the, oops, I got a split yarn. Make sure if your yarn is split and go back, there we go. I have a symbol right in the center that says slip 2 stitches, knit the next stitch. Now reach back and pass each one of those slip stitches over and off, just like that. Then I have knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. Okay, now stop for a minute. Now for me, I'm getting ready because I only did 3 repeats. If you did 15 or 17, you have to continue to go all the way across, and at the end, when you come to the yellow box at the very end, you have a yarn over, you will knit 1 stitch. And then you should have 5 stitches left for the border. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to put a marker right here to let me know where the border, where the stitch stops and the border starts. Now I can simply knit those 5 border stitches, which I knit on every row. Now you're not going to be able to see much now, but as it starts to move, alright, so that was simply row 1. Now when we turn the work, this is the easy row. We're going to knit our 5 stitch border and then just purl all the stitches back to the beginning, and then I will see you back at row 3. Alright? Take your time. You will do just fine. Back in just a minute. Alright, I have worked across my first row. Now take your time, because you want the first few rows to be correct, because we're going to build on top of them. So now I find myself back at, let me do my little 5 stitch border real quick, and we are going to work row 3. Even though it's the same as row 1, I want to work it with you because I have some things to share with you once we finish that row. So I work my 5 stitch border right there. I slide the marker. Now let's start again. This time we're at row 3. It says knit 1. That's the front of the box. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 again. yarn over. Now slip, slip, reach back and knit. Well, I got some really yarn is splitting. Okay, slip, slip, knit. Now I'm in the center of my chart, and you simply slip 2 stitches like that, knit 1. Now reach back and pass each slip stitch over and off. Alright, the next thing I need to do is knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, stop. Back to the start of the box, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. Then you're going to slip, slip, knit. Alright, that's the first decrease. Now the center decrease, you're going to slip 2, knit 1. Now I'm going to reach back and pass each slip stitch over and off. Okay, that was the center. Now I go to knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, stop. Back to the front of the box, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 again, yarn over. Now I'm going to do the slip, slip, knit. Then I'm going to do the one decrease right in the center. So I slip 2 stitches, knit 1, reach back and pass the 2 slip stitches over and off. Now I'm ready for knit 2 stitches together, and what I want to look for is to see if I have 2 stitches left. That's going to tell you if you worked the row correct. So there's the first landmark right there. So once I knit 2 stitches together, then I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to knit 1, then I'm going to yarn over again and knit the last stitch right here at the end of the row. Now of course you have a long row. I just have this little short sample. Alright, then I'm going to slide the marker, which tells me there's my 5 stitch border, so I knit 5 stitches just like that. And let's stop and take a look. Oh, we can see a little something now. First of all, let me straighten out my borders. I have my border on each side. I can see the tip or bottom of one leaf, leaf number 1. Here's leaf number 2. I have 3 repeats on this one. And there's the 3rd one, and my border. So that's what I have so far. Of course, you have a long line. Now, this is where things will start to kind of get interesting. In fact, let me switch, because now we're just simply going to, of course you have to purl, you have to go to row 4 and purl back. So I'm just, after we do that, then guess what? We're back at row 1. We're not really back at row 1, so let me just leave it there. I tell you what, let me purl row 4 real quick and come back, because I want to show you something. So purl row 4, come back, and then I'm going to show you how to go, how the next step, how you can remember where you are in the next step. Alright, back in just a moment. Alright, so now I want to come back and show you, you know, the bigger picture and how to keep track of where you are. It's funny that simple stitches sometimes create, get your mind, just tires your mind out, because you're repeating the same thing over and over. It's very simple. Alright, so let me just share with you real quick. Well, maybe not real quick, but alright, we have worked, if you look on this sample that I'm working on now, I decided I'm making someone a gift. So here's the sample. Alright, we have worked row 1, which is the first row down here at the bottom. And there's the best landmark for you to keep your eye on is the center landmark. It's the one where you slip 2 stitches and then knit 1 and then reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off. It makes a little cross. It makes the stitch where you slip them back, it goes diagonal. Alright, so row 1 is this very first row, then we purl back. Row 2 of the leaf, you can see the second, you can see the first one here that goes across. Now here's the second one, that's row 3. After row 3, we simply purl back. From that point, we need 5 rows of stockinette. Knit on the front, purl on the back. And so after you do row 4, now if you prefer, I'm going to show you a couple ways to do it. But if you prefer, because everyone understands things different. All right, let me get back a little bit. All right, so after row 4, you purl back. All right, I need 5 rows. Now the next row, I need you to knit, then purl, knit, then purl back, and then the next row should be the 5th row on the right side. Does that make sense? Or you can do the tally system. You can simply says, okay, row 4, and then you can just tally row 5, count 5. I'd just count after row 4. Then I'd count 1 row, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. You know, and just tally it on a little sheet of paper. So, but you can also just count. If you look real close, after you do row 3 and you have that little diagonal stitch, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can count the rows and see that you are now ready to start. That's the top of the leaf. Row 1 and 3, that's the bottom. Those extra 5 rows, that represents the top of the leaf, this section here. Now, to start the next leaf, I need to go back down to row 1. Here it is right here. You'll be able to tell it because there's a little cross stitch. Then I'll purl back and then I'll do row 3. There's a second cross stitch. So I know I've done row 1, 2, and 3. Now, purl back on row 4 and I'm ready to work until I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Or 5 rows that I have completed. That gives me these 5 stitches. Stop. Okay, after that, that's the top of that leaf. Alright, then the next thing we want to do, we want to start again with row 1. After we work row 1, we're going to have that little stitch that goes across, and then purl back, then row 3, here it is again. Does that make sense so far? Then row 4, I purl back, and then I have to go through the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's where I will meet back. We will meet up, and then I'll get in step with you. We'll compare notes. We'll see if everyone has the same number of stitches, and that you have your there's 2 rows of leaves. Here's the first row, here's the second row. Then we have to do row 1, 1 and 3 to close it up, and then we just knit from that point on. It's nothing but stockinette knitting. Knit on the front, purl on the back. And that's where the fun, or you can exhale. Okay, so take your time, listen to this part again, but the main thing is to just always check the center. If you can just check the center, you can just check your center stitch, and then know that there's 5 rows before you start the row 1 again. 5 rows that you'll have to do, where you have to knit on the front, purl on the back. Whew! Alright. So, take your time. I think you're going to like it once you get it started. I think you'll see how easy it is. Don't be so concerned right now. And if you do get off course, just kind of walk yourself, see if you can tink back to a landmark. There are three decreases in here to get you back to a landmark. If you do get off course and at the end you're like, oh man, I think I'm off a little bit, or you can feel it right away. As soon as you feel it that you might be off, just stop and either look back or tink back to one of the three decreases in the landmarks. There's a slip, slip, knit, or I like to try to go back to the center one because I know that's slip 2, knit 1, reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off. You may have forgotten to pass one over or something. Then here's the knit 2 together. So use that as a way to help know, to keep your place and to know where you are on the chart. All right. Take your time. I think you'll like it once you get the rhythm down. I will check back in with you shortly. Here's a 7, number 2, take number 2. All right, my friends, I'm back. I thought I'd just go ahead and, while I'm working on the gift, because I'm going to need this gift right away, let me go back to the original so I can just walk you through the easy finish. All right, first of all, you have done your leaves. We shared that after that, you are to be working in stockinette, knit on the front, purl on the back, and you just work up. We had counted up 5, but you work up, I don't know, about 2 inches if you want to. And then if you like to separate, because some people just find stockinette just kind of boring, it's all right on the wrong side row if you want to put a knit, if you want to do a knit row. So on the wrong side, if you want this garter ridge to appear on the front, just knit on that back side row. Then maybe knit another couple of inches up, okay? This entire scarfie is 16 inches or less. So that gives you a clue that there's not a lot of work into it. Once you get past the 2 section of leaves, then it's just straightforward knitting, okay? So you just keep knitting and knitting until you get close to 16 or right at 16 inches. Then on a wrong side row, you will bind off all the stitches, but using the knit stitch like I normally do. All right, so on the wrong side, you would knit 2, then reach back and bind off 1, knit the next stitch, reach back and bind off, and all the way across using the knit stitch. And it gives you this nice, because the nature of this stitch, stockinette, it automatically causes the yarn to roll on itself. So this creates that beautiful, I call it neck. It's a beautiful neckline. It just looks so pretty with any kind of your pearls or necklace, whatever. It just rolls back and frames your neck like you saw me wearing it. Now, how cool is that? Something that normally irritates us, it is perfect for this scarf. Like saying, the whole thing is 16 inches or less, depending on how wide you want it. Or, if you just have a little yarn and it doesn't even have to be that wide. It's up to you. Last but not least, let me pull it over. We have our fringe. And your fringe, you know how to cut fringe. And you know how to attach the fringe. I'll pull it up here. You know how to attach the fringe to the one edge here, to this edge. Maybe if I turn it like that so you can see. You just go along and attach. And I have, I don't know, I usually put about 5 to 7 pieces of strand. So by the time I double it, see, that works out to be 10 to 14 in each thing of fringe, and then just attach it with a crochet hook. The prettiest thing, or the thing to remember, is when you steam this shawl, be sure to steam the fringe too. And the steaming, real quick, I'll just turn it here on this back side. Let me just show you real quick. All right, here is the fringe out here. Here is the shawl on the wrong side. I take this to my ironing board just like this. me see if I'm on. Yep, you can see it. I take it to my ironing board. I also take a few of these little yellowhead pins, and these leaves are not pointed, but I do like to pull them out just a little bit, just to kind of make them pop, so that you can see my work. You know, see the lace. Just pull them apart, pull them out from the shawl, and then just either hold your iron or your steamer over top, steam and press with your hand. But you never steam this part, the upper part, the roll part. It's from this here down. And then stretch it, pull it in place, push it in place with your hands. Just like that. And then, of course, steam your fringe, steam that. Comb it with your hands just like that. Sometimes I'll leave it pent. Walk away, let it cool, depending on what your fabric content is. If it's wool and you wet block it or whatever you normally do, just do what you normally do. Since this is acrylic, I just steam it. I walk away and let it cool, come back, unpin it, unless I see that I need to go again. Sometimes I'll have to go lightly again if it's real texture. But then I can slowly pull it across the ironing board just like this. Take the pins, pull the points out and repin it. Repin the points just like that. Like I said, they're not sharp points, but you do want them to kind of stand out. But just do not steam anything above, anything going here for that neckline. And of course, if you need to steam your fringe, you can again. Well, what do you think? And last but not least, my friend Helene at Cabin Fever Crochet. She took the lead this year. She came up with this beautiful theme called Autumn Glow. And then, of course, we had to come up with a project with that theme. And at first I was a little stumped, but then once I saw the pictures with the beautiful colors and the trees and the leaves, I remembered this stitch. Of course, I had to try to hunt for it because it didn't have a name. I'm just calling it a leaf stitch just for this pattern. But I eventually found it, and then I charted it for you to make it really easy. So a big shout out to her. And guess what? She is up next for Fall Festival 22, Autumn Glow. So next week, you have something even more to look for. So this is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam saying thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, for making our second Fall Festival a success. And we look forward to hearing from you and also sending pictures. I hope you give these projects that we share with you a try and just let us know what you think. So until next time, and like I say, don't forget, next week, Helene is up. Bye-bye.